The first page will make or break your story. If you're an artist like me who wants to tell and sell captivating, impactful stories but have a hard time finding the time to do it, in less than 3 minutes I'll share with you what I learned analyzing the first pages of 41 books of the Bible and over 120 manga titles. From doing this, I learned 6 effective ways to begin a story. Keep watching if you'd like to know what it is that hooks the reader, so they'll be itching to want to know what's going to happen next. Take a look at the first page in Dragon Ball, for example. What can you tell me about who the story is about, where is it taking place, what's the character doing, how they're doing it and why? One or more of the questions, who, what, when, where, why, and how, are left unanswered in a way that makes me want to know more about this character in this famous story. What about this manga? You learn everything about this character from the narration, but it's boring. And this? There isn't enough information given to you in the panels to really be engaging. Check out this next example from a manga called Black Cat. Same questions as before. There's a question here I have in my mind, but it's one that killed my interest in wanting to read more. Why call a bounty hunter a sweeper? Perhaps you're thinking what's the problem since it leaves the question unanswered. I had a hunch reading the first page that these characters are bounty hunters, but there wasn't anything they were doing that calling themselves sweepers made it special. Instead, I found myself upset and confused, not intrigued. Isn't this just my opinion? Maybe, but I skimmed through the rest of the chapter to see if there's a difference between a sweeper and a bounty hunter. At least in this first chapter, there's none. The principle I believe we can take away is this. If you're coming up with new words and terms for your story and there's nothing about it that sets it apart from what the reader is familiar with, then there's no need to come up with a new term. It's trying to be different for no reason or purpose other than to try sounding cool. Now that we know that in order to get the reader interested in the story, we have to hook them with a question or two about the story and main character that sparks intrigue instead of being too vague, giving away too much information or breaking immersion. What are the 6 effective openers that the Bible and manga share? Would you like to begin your story documenting a specific period of time in the main character's life? The Book of Esther and the manga Hoshin Enji start off like this with a narrator to set the stage. What if that period of time was incredibly important to the character's life? This story opener is like a personal diary or journal entry to kick off the story, like in the Book of Acts or Witch Hat Atelier. How about an impactful event that kicks the character into action? The Book of Jonah and Hell Warden Higuma start off like this. There is always the tried and true method that gets the reader to learn about the character and their beginnings. Books like 1 Samuel and Me and Roboko have a once upon a time kind of intro. Or the character is already in the middle of doing something. The Book of Daniel and the Gravity Boys puts you right into the action. What about starting with the thing that inspired the character to do what they do? The Book of Nehemiah and the manga Akane Banashi begins with what motivated the character to relentlessly pursue their heart's desire. Lastly, you can begin the story by establishing the story world. This invites the reader to see how everything came to be in the current state it's in. Great for epic stories. Famously, the Book of Genesis opens this way. Black Clover also begins its story in a way that gives a prologue to how the story's history will affect the main character's present. Now that I have you thinking about the 6 ways you can create a killer opening for your comic or manga, check out this next video if you'd like help on how you can apply these techniques to the first page of your comic or manga. Thank you so much for watching and God bless.